Hi everyone, it's Jenny with Joey and Jenny's Little Yellow House, and you can find us on YouTube at Joey143Jenny. So today I wanted to make a few more journal cards and pockets, and I had done a few the other day and I thought I would show those to you, and I wanted to make a few more. So I thought I would walk through it with you. What I did with this is I attached 6 of these, what are these? Time cards. I just used some washi and I just attached it to the back, and then we'll take those apart. And then what I did was I glued on some fussy cuts, some fussy cut flowers. Here I put 2 fussy cuts because I'm going to cut this in half. And I stamped, did a lot of stamping. I've stamped first. So first I stamped, got to remember my process. And then I glued down some fussy cuts. And then I used texture paste and some stencils and went over them. So let me pull. I hope these aren't too tacky, a little tacky. Let me pull this apart. Okay. So I don't know if you can see that dimension there, but what I did was I have a splatter, a Tim Holtz splatter stencil, and so I used that with the texture paste, and this is an alphabet one. This one was done, I'll show you this in a little bit, texture paste with just 1 drop of my vintage photo re-ink. And then this one was done with my texture paste with a drop of my metallic gold paint. And then I don't know, let's see, this one you probably can see a little bit better. Oh, I hope this, I should get my little hair dryer out or my heat gun to loosen up this. But instead, I'm just ripping it off gently. Ugh. I got it a little bit. So I don't know if you can see this, but I just used the texture paste itself and used the Tim Holtz Beehive, or what is that? Honeycomb print there. So anyways, it's textural. It's fairly thin. It's but it's sturdy. You can write on the back. And because of the time card is kind of like cardstock, sort of. So I thought I would make some more and bring you along, but you don't have to, you know, have time cards to do this. If you have like an old manila folder you want to use. I got these, I got these, I'm tearing these, unexpectedly tearing those. I got these interesting folders at, I want to say, an estate sale. I actually think, where did I get these? I think they gave them to me because I was asking if they had any paper stuff, and they're very large, as you can see. And so I really can't tell. I have no idea what this is. It looks maybe electrical. I'm not super sure, but it's some type of, you know, work order folder. And then on the back it has all of this other stuff. So they have writing over here, and then it says itemized completion record. I don't know. I don't know what it is. If you do, let me know. But anyways, I got a handful of these, and I thought they were super cool. They're made out of that manila folder stuff. So what I did with that is, I'm going to just set this over here, get it out of the way, is I cut it into 3-inch strips. You can make it any way you want, but 3-inch strips are going to work for what I want to do. So today I'm going to do kind of the same process, but I'm going to make some for the peacock journal I've been working on. So the ones that I'm peeling this tape / paper off, I can use in really anything. So like this one has 2 different flowers, so I'll cut it in half and maybe make, you know, tags out of it, or a journal card and maybe round the corners. I'll probably edge, and I might even put a label, although I did try to stamp labels on here, but you can tell I didn't get it on everyone, but you know, I love those. Okay. All right, well, let's get started. So I do have these taped together, and hopefully that what I have taped is not gonna be yucky. And I do want to go ahead and keep the majority of what was on that folder. The back has a little bit of writing, but not as much as this front does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this side. And again, I'm going to stamp first, and I'm just using my archival inks in these two colors because these are the colors that work really well with most everything that I do. So let me go through the stamps that I'll use. Of course, I'm going to use Kathy Holden's fancy labels, and you can get these at Spellbinders. So I love these. I love them all, but I love these two stamps, so I'm going to use this one and this one here. Let me grab my acrylics. So, yeah, so the grandkids were over yesterday. I hope you got to see that video. It was so fun with them in here. And they're so funny. And I think they might have been a little nervous, which, you know, you can get nervous thinking about someone else watching what you do, but I don't really get nervous just because I just pretend I'm just in here talking to myself, even though on one hand I pretend I'm talking to myself. On the other hand, I feel like I'm talking to every friend I have. So I don't know why, but I don't get nervous about it. But they were a little bit nervous, I think. And so a little quiet, but I noticed towards the end of the video they were talking a little bit more. Oh, this one, I don't know if you can see this little hole in here. That was part of this. It's, you know, big, gigantic thumb hole there. And I left it because I think I'll just turn this one into a pocket. So anyways, it's basically get out some of your stamps. Maybe you haven't used them in a while. And it's okay if you're experimenting with your stamps, because you have an opportunity, you know, to cover them up either with your fussy cuts or with, you know, the textured paste, or, you know, whatever. And I always like to, I don't know why, I like to go off of the page a little bit, you know, so that's why I kind of stagger some of them. Hopefully I got that one good. Okay. And I'm just going to stamp that off a little bit. I pulled out a big piece of my stamp off paper so that I didn't have to be concerned about, you know, my workspace too much. So today is Super Bowl Sunday. We're very excited. Well, I don't know how very excited. And I don't know if it's weird. But, oh, there's our train. I'm excited about the Chiefs being in the Super Bowl because, you know, like I mentioned yesterday on my video, my daughter Elizabeth and my grandsons love the Chiefs, so I love supporting them. And so yeah, we don't get the channels that they're on, so I'll just keep up on the internet and see how they're doing. But they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, I do know that. And I also, well, that one has plenty on it. Let's see, what about this one? I know they're going to be in Arizona, if I remember right. So that'll be nice. I checked the other day. I don't know how much it is today. I should have checked today. But just for kicks, I checked to see, it was about 2 days ago, how much it would cost you know, to go to the Super Bowl. And when I checked, it was $3,800 per ticket if you bought 2 tickets. So, you know, since Joe can't go, he's still recovering, we didn't buy the tickets. Just kidding. We wouldn't have gone. So anyways, okay, so I'm just going to show you what I'm going to use. This one, I got it at a flea market. And let's see, Gemini Crafter Companion. I don't know more than that. But I did like, I'm going to just peel that back. I did like a lot of these different ones. You saw Lillian was using that one yesterday, and it turned out really cute. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not even going to take it off of here. I'm just going to ink it up, the ones that I like, you know, that I want for this one. I'm not going to ink the whole thing. I'm not doing like a happy birthday thing, but it's easier than just taking the whole thing off. And then I'm just going to, you know, put it down. So I'm just using the acetate or whatever that is to be my stamp pad. And so you can see it gives it's a totally fine print. So I'm going to do it again up at the top, just a little bit. It gives it kind of an interesting, and you don't have to worry about, you know, like you can see it's almost patchwork. I'm not worried about that because we're going to have so much going on that it's not going to look odd. So this one, I think I'll go down like this. If you don't have a big enough workspace to do 6 at a time, that's all right. Just do 3. Or maybe you have room to do them all laying out in a row. Okay, so you can see that one. And I have a little bit more, so I'm just going to stamp it off just to get rid of a little bit of that extra. I try to be very good with my crafting supplies. I don't wash, you know, all of these all the time unless they've gotten deep ink. But I do try to make sure that I put everything back where it goes. I've always been that way. My dad taught us that always protect the tools of your trade. Well, although I'm not currently making money at this trade, so to speak, I've always tried to protect the things that I have, and it's just good. It's just good business sense, financially, you know. Okay, I'm gonna, yeah, let's not spend time doing that. I'll put that aside. Okay, you know, to just be wise in, you know, taking care of your things. So, okay, so this one I use quite a bit. Several of them quite a bit. It's funny, I've never used these. So this is Tim Holtz collection, Stampers Anonymous. And then there's the number that this is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some of these here and there. Just for, you know, some fun text here and there. And then, again, it's not critical where you put it. You know, you don't have to think too hard, which is really nice because let's say you just need some craft time. You know, you just need to get some time to where you're not thinking too hard. This is a perfect project because you're just stamping off and it's going to be a beautiful project. You know, once you're done, it's going to really turn out nice. I like this one. I'm going to do it in black. Try not to let those go too long in the air. So this one, to me, is a library book checkout grid, you know, that would be on your library on the little, what is it called? Card, not the card catalog. Oh, I don't know what it's called. You know, where you check it out and you have to sign for it. It's what reminds me of that. That looked a little muddy where I put it, but I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be too concerned about stuff like that. I think it just is muddy. I think it's just kind of haphazard on there, so it comes out that way. Okay. So we've got a few of those down. Get this kind of inked off a little bit. Good. And then this one, a little typewriter. I think that's fun. Just go along one side here for now. I'll go the other side. So I have chili cooking in the crock pot. Chili, I say that loosely because I don't know if you've ever watched any of my in the kitchen videos, but I've mentioned that I keep certain things on hand. Well, one of the things I keep on hand is chili beans, tomatoes, chili season, onions, ground beef, turkey, what have you. I keep those things on hand, so like if we ever, you know, if it's a cold day and you want to throw in some chili, you can do it. Another thing is like if you know, you've had plans or something and something comes up at the last minute, or you're having a group over at the last minute, whatever the case is, you have a few things, you know, that you can do. So I keep chili on hand. Well, I don't know what happened with my process, my fail-proof process, but for some reason I ran out of canned crushed and diced tomatoes other than Italian. And I ran out of chili season. I mean, not that you can't make chili without, you know, chili season, but I tell you, it tastes a lot different than what I'm used to. So, I'm not super sure how it's going to taste. I did put a bunch of other, you know, I put some, see, this is fun. When you just do it like this, then you can just blot it down wherever you want, you know. I did put some chili powder, lots of chili powder. I put some peppers in it. I put some Rotel, you know, trying to pretend that there's chili season in there. And I just went and tasted it, you know, just gave it a little chef's taste. And it tastes like really, really spicy bean soup. So we'll see what Joe thinks. I don't even know. I haven't decided to tell him that it's supposed to be chili. I think I'm just going to serve it with some sour cream and, you know, just play it by ear, kind of. Okay. So I think this is turning out good. Now it looks a little, you know, clunky right now, and that's okay. It's super fun, you know, especially when you use, I think, personally, when you use these that, you know, have different, all kinds of things on them. And then you know, you just ink the whole thing and use it as one big ink pad. I think it's super fun. Okay, so I'm stamping that off. Now let's move, I think we're going to move on to the next phase, which is putting, first I got to put this back, okay, which is putting the fussy cuts on. All right, get rid of this trash. Okay. All right, so in preparation, you know, it's just so this video doesn't go to, you know, 1,000 minutes, I went ahead and fussy tore and fussy cut some different items that I wanted to use for the Peacock journal. So I'm going to place these. Now this one I knew would hang over a little bit, which is fine. I will wrap it around. I'm going to wrap it around the card. But the majority of the other ones are going to be fine. They'll be within, you know. And I might not use them all, so we'll see. But I know I'm going to use this one, so I'll go ahead and get, let's see. I think, which do I want to wrap? The back? Yeah, better wrap the back. Okay. So anyway, so get your fussy cuts. This could be things out of a magazine. You know, we subscribe to our conservation department magazine. It's a free magazine. And we read the living daylights out of it. We show people the articles. And then sometimes if there isn't anything that, you know, is something that is of interest necessarily to us past just the reading portion of it, then I'll go ahead and use it as a cutting, you know, to be able to cut. Okay, let me just wrap this real quick so I don't forget about it. Let me use that. There. Okay. But yeah, it's a really great source for nature things. There, I do keep a lot of things, or I'll actually cut things out and put, like for instance, in our mud room, we have a little closet in there, and I keep a little tray of bug spray and like, oh, those little mosquito armbands, you know, and, so you can see here, you know, some of that's going to get covered. It's hard to determine what you're going to cover and what you're not. But, you know, I don't worry about it. It was fun. It was a really good process and got a lot of, you know, fun energy going. So I don't worry that I've just covered up some of the things that I just did. I'm not concerned about that. But anyway, so in this little closet, I have that tray that has like bug things, bug sprays and stuff like that. And then what I've done is, like an example of things that I'll cut out for the home, is the conservation department. One of the things that they had was different kinds of bugs for our area, and, you know, kind of remedies if you get a bug bite. And then they also have, of course, they have snakes and all that stuff too. But what I like is they had a whole thing on like, what was it? Poison ivy, poison oak, the difference. And of course, since we have acreage and we have trails, you know, I want to keep that handy so the kids can see, all of us really, but primarily the children, you know, can see what to stay away from. And we go out in the spring and usually show them again where some of the heated areas that have it, you know, what it looks like. Okay, so far it's coming along. And you can see, kind of see the process of, you know, just using your fussy cuts or your fussy tears. And I like the ones I showed you earlier. They're not of any specific, necessarily, theme. I used flowers just because I do a lot of things with flowers. But you would not have to. You know, you could do whatever you want. Maybe you're making a grunge journal and you want to, you know, put some clocks and some gauges and things like that. Now, I don't know. Do I want that tail? I might just take that tail off. I'll have to wait. It's a little bit too wet. Okay. I know it seems crazy to take that tail off, but once you do, it doesn't look as crazy as you think it might. Turn this over. And then other things that we love about the conservation thing, I'm a big advocate for it. If you haven't subscribed to your state's conservation magazine. I highly recommend it, you know, not just for fussy cutting, but because there's just so much. Even if you're not, even if you live in the city, it talks about parks, and it talks about, you know, places in your area, birds. We love the bird part because, you know, as you've seen on, if you watch any of my Instagram, Joey loves to put the birds feeders out, you know, and we have documented 49 different species of birds, you know, and so it's really fun to have that conservation book as a guide as well. We love mushrooms, and Joy likes to mushroom hunt, forage mushrooms, and so they'll also put in, you know, what kind of mushrooms in your area are good, you know, for you to look for. So anyways, yeah, it's a really great book. It's a really great periodical. It comes out every month, and it is nice. The pages are nice. Now that one I might split. I don't think I did any splitting on the other one. No, I don't think I'll split, just because I think it's going to be tough enough with all the goo on it. But, what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. No surprise there. Get to going and then I forget what I was saying. So I might not use some of these. Let's see what else I have. Oh, that's very pretty. Wonder if, no, I don't think I'll use that there. Might use this one. I thought that looked kind of, nope. Okay, I think we're going to move on to the second. None of those are making any, they're all beautiful, but they're not adding to what, you know, I feel like needs added. So we'll just move on. Conservation magazine. It's awesome. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you is, it also, and I think I mentioned this before, it also has a children's magazine that comes out every month. Oh my gosh, it is so adorable. And it has things like, you know, like on one of the first pages, it'll have a blow up of something that's nature. And the children will, you know, it'll ask the children to guess what it is. And then, of course, a few pages later, it shows the big picture of what it is. And that is super fun for kids, I think. My grandkids love it. Just has all kinds of neat stuff. Okay, so this is now what I'm going to be using. I'm going to use the textured paste. What is this, a Ranger? Yeah, it's Ranger. I got that on Amazon. Probably most of this. This I got at Walmart, metallic paint. I'm going to just give it a shake. The very first time I opened it, it just flowed over. Stuff like that makes me crazy, but, you know, it is a studio. And then I keep this in a little plastic bag, but this is my distressed ink inker, you know, when I want to rehydrate my ink pad. It's vintage photo, so I'll be using that. I believe I also got this either at Ranger.com, or I got it on Amazon. I don't remember. I'm fairly certain whichever place was the least expensive. So I'm going to start with, what am I going to start with? I'm going to start with just the plain old without any color or anything. And so what I did with this is, this was a Bed Bath & Beyond card my mom had given me for my birthday. And I cut it in half, and then I rounded the corners just to be able to use it as a spatula. So I'm just going to take a little bit, probably like this much. I can always come back for more. I'm going to put the lid on so I don't like it to get too dry. And I'm just going to set it there. And then over here, Oh, I might have put it out of my reach. There we go. Over here I have stencils. So this is that splatter stencil I told you about. And then it has the honeycomb on the bottom. And I like them both, so I've used that. This one, and that was a Tim Holtz. And this one is Simple Stories, Branch and Butterfly. And I got this at Tuesday Morning. I think I'm going to use that one first. And I'll also be using this alphabet. You may have seen Wilson. He liked to use that. He used it yesterday. And this is also a Ranger. I have no idea where I got this. I think it may have come as a, sorry to jiggle, but I think it may have come as a thank you gift when I ordered a bunch of stencils at one point or something. I don't know. I do not remember ordering this, but I might have. Who knows? Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down here so I don't stretch in front of the camera too much. And let's see. I like to find the flattest side, and I think the other side was the flattest. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, let's see if I can zoom just a little bit. Okay. And I'm just going to lightly go over this. You don't have to go lightly over it, but the reason I'm going lightly over it is because I want it to fit nicely in a journal. And, you know, so I don't want it to have too much bulk to it. It's going to have bulk anyway, so. And it's okay. You can see here it goes over the fussy cut. I mean, that's totally okay. It's going to look really neat. I kind of try to not put it on faces or all over the fussy cut because it is opaque, and so you're not going to be able to see through it very well. Okay. Let's lift that up. You can see it has some neat designs on it. So I'm not doing a whole bunch just because I'm going to do these others as well. But I do want to put a few on each one. So it's all fun. You know, this is a chance to use a bunch of things, but really not make too big of a, you know, disaster mess out of your craft room or studio, or if you're doing it at the kitchen table. You just have a few things that you're using, but you're making a lot of, you know, you're using a lot of different mediums to work it. Isn't that pretty? This is a really sweet little stencil. It just has a lot of little cute little things. I seem to keep choosing this little flowery, or this little stem flower thing here. It's very delicate. Oh, I think I just covered his head. Yep. So I'm just gonna, I mean, you still have a little time. I'm just gonna wipe that right off his head. Sorry about that, Mr. Peacock. Oh, brother. I like that little ditty there. It's very fun. I mean, you could totally get lost in doing this. I mean, it's just fun. Let's see. Let's put one more, and then we'll move on to adding some stuff and going to a different stencil. If you do get, you know, if you don't have any of that texture paste, it really goes a long way. Now, one thing I do want to tell you is immediately after this video, I'm going to take this and soak all of that off. I would not let that dry. You know, like sometimes if you use ink, it doesn't build up, but this definitely builds up. So you'll want to get it washed off, maybe even with some soapy water, you know. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, take about the same amount because I don't want to go over it too much in the sense that we can't see what it originally was. And then I'm just going to get this to where I'm not sitting it right in. Okay. And then I'm just going to take 1 drop. If it would give a half a drop, that would be fine. And that's that Distress ink. Use any color you want. This is the one I have. And you can variegate it, you know, like just do it like this. Totally fine. Or you can completely mix it up. I'm going to completely mix mine up. I'm trying not to shake too much. Okay. And if it's not completely mixed when it goes on, I am so not worried about that at all. Not at all. Okay. So now I have a little bit of that. And what's my next? Let's do some of these splatters. Okay, let me get some stuff out of the way here so I can reach. Okay, because I want you to be able to see, so I want to keep it kind of up on. Again, it is going to cover some of the stuff that we did already. I'm okay with that, but I am going to put like a light coat. So here's the splatters. And I just love it. I love the texture that it makes. I am going to squeegee a little bit of it off because I just don't want it too thick. But that's so neat how it leaves that, you know. I think walnut, I don't have walnut ink, like the distressed ink in the eyedropper. If I did, I think that would be really pretty for this one. Because the colors are so dark. Okay. I'm going to just do a few more, and then I'm going to do that honeycomb a little bit. Or wait, maybe I'll do the honeycomb with the gold. And the honeycomb doesn't really make sense, you know, with peacocks, but it's all nature, and I think it's going to work out okay. So maybe a little bit more, and then we'll add the gold. Or maybe we'll do a few honeycomb and then we'll add gold. I'm going to just, I don't know if you can see this. There we go. I'm going to overlap 2 here. Again, I'm going to kind of squeegee it off just so it's not, you know, taking up too much bulkness. And where else? Maybe up here. This one has a lot of, the stencil has a lot of negative space, so it gives a lot, you know, it leaves a lot of the texture paste, and I don't want too much more of that on there. So I think we're done with that one, but I like how it turned out. Put you back a little bit so you can see. Okay. All right, now I'm just gonna use this, and I'm just going to wipe that off just before I put it back into my, and it's already starting to stick, so like I said, as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to soak those off. Texture paste. Okay. And I'm just going to go a little bit because I have so much texture paste on here now, but I do want to show you this as well. Okay, just going to put, a drop of that gold paint. And I still have, I'm trying not to get too much of the, let's scooch it over a little bit. I don't want to get too much of that vintage photo ink, just because I want these to be a little bit different. I want that gold to show through. It's very, very shimmery, and I love that. Okay, got it. All right. Let's just put, I have this one left. It's the alphabet. And let's just go here. This alphabet's nice because it's very thin. You know, the negative space is very thin. I hope it peels up nice. Yeah. It's very thin and it leaves a nice image. Did I do that backwards? No. Okay. I was like, what? Oh boy. Trying not to get anything squished here. This is going over 3 or 4 of them. Use up the rest of it here. Yeah, it turned out great. Go in the pile, get my wet wipe. I've got a little bit of that on my hands now. So I want to get a little bit off before I... Okay, so now what I would recommend is waiting for this to dry before you tear apart. And I'm looking to see, is there anything else that I need? And I kind of feel like, pardon the reach here, but I feel like right in here needs a little bit of something. So I'm going to take what's left, and it's already getting a little dry, so you can tell it doesn't take long to dry on your paper, which means it doesn't take long to dry on other things. So, you know, just kind of keep that in mind. And then I think I'm going to put a little bit here. Knowing when to stop. We don't know when that is. Probably when I get this all cleaned off, it'll be time to stop putting paste on. Oh, I just love that. I just love it. See, it's just putting a little bit here, a little bit there. And then when it dries and you take them apart, you see them just individually, you're just going to be so pleased with how fun each one looks, you know. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay, well, we got 6 more done. So that's awesome. And then what will happen is, once it dries, I'll take them apart, and they will be nice journaling cards. They're tall, and that's okay because I made that tall journal, so I'm pretty cool with it. I may end up having to snip a few off at the end or at the top, depending on where, you know, it makes the best sense. So, all right, so look at my hands. I better go get the stencils cleaned off. I don't want to ruin anything. And okay, and then I will post pictures later on Instagram about this, okay? Anyways, everyone, I hope you had fun. I did. I had a great time. I hope you can come visit soon. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Blessings, everyone. Bye-bye.